So in an article today, EA talks about how players do not like linear games as much as they used to, and it also explains why Visceral closed its doors. This is a very interesting article and definitely want to talk to you guys about it. What up everybody, it's your boy Gaming Forte, back at it with another video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, it definitely helps out the channel a lot. And yeah, this article over at Gaming Boat is talking about how EA feels like linear games are not as popular as they used to be, and they also tied the closure of Visceral Games into it because they feel like Visceral was working on a Star Wars title that was like an Uncharted type game, and how linear and focused it was, and it didn't feel like it was economical to actually bring this game out. So my thought process on this is, why would they come out and say this? They're saying that the Star Wars IP they don't think would have sold just on the name alone, and they say people aren't looking for linear games as much anymore. Now that may be somewhat true compared to some of the other games out there that's not doing super well, like we got Wolfenstein that actually has a really good single player and didn't actually perform like it was supposed to. And at the moment that may sound like a correct statement, but they're really trying to tie the Star Wars IP into it. One of the most successful franchises ever to grace the silver screen. And also in video game terms, Star Wars is like something that a lot of people look forward to. Yes, the first Battlefront did amazingly well, and that was without a single player. A lot of people were really hyped up to actually play the single player for this game because they wanted a unique, genuine Star Wars story. We saw what a spin-off movie like Rogue One did for the series, and in some people's eyes that was like one of the best entries in the whole franchise, and that was something that they used to basically just tie up loose ends and give us some type of clarity and confirmation of what was going on in between movies. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for when it comes to the Star Wars franchise in video games. There's a reason a lot of people were super hyped to actually play Star Wars Battlefront 2, because it had a single player story that told some events that happened between episode 6 and episode 7, had an original script. People were super excited to actually play through it. I actually went out and bought it day one just so I can actually play through that campaign. And yes, it did have its issues, but I really enjoyed the campaign. It was fun, it was enjoyable. I liked some of the set pieces. It had some stuff to work on, but it was still a great story overall. And I am very welcoming to the new DLC that's coming free with this game, that's actually going to add even more substance to the whole story of Iden Versio and what's going on with Inferno Squad going forward. But the fact that EA believes that this game, or the game that Visceral was making, was not going to be able to hit critical mass, they're crazy. People wanted an original Star Wars game, and this would have been somewhat like it. Why do you think games like Uncharted do as well as they did? The first one wasn't all that highly received. It didn't come until the second one came out when people was like, whoa, we got something going on here. That was something that the bubble burst on, and a lot of people jumped on board and enjoyed that game. Could you believe a world where there was no Uncharted or any Last of Us? Those games were built off of the fact that people enjoyed them. They iterated on the things they did really well and brought even more to the table, and that's why those games are blockbusters to this point now. So I wanted to quote Blake Jurgensen. He's the chief financial officer at EA, on what he had to say about linear game. He said, people don't like linear games as much today. It was therefore an economical decision to close the studio, though EA is trying to retain as much of the studio's personnel as it can by absorbing them into other units. So the first thing I take away from that, it was an economical decision to make this closure. I feel like if it was a way to actually monetize this game and actually have a way where it was easy to implement and make it make sense, they would have did it. But the fact that this game was being made in a certain way, there was really no way to implement a microtransaction system that would actually make sense. So the fact that it couldn't be done, EA looked at it like, this is going to be a financial risk for us to make this game, and they closed the studio. That's what I think happened, and a lot of people think the same way too. We all know that EA is about making their money, and there's nothing wrong with that because they're a company, but we also know that they make money hand over fist when it comes to their sports franchises, Madden, FIFA. Just those two games alone bring in so much money, it's crazy. But EA absolutely knows what's going on with this. They've been trying to add this into their systems for a long time, and these aren't going to be the only games, and Battlefront won't be the last game. EA knows what they're doing. The biggest problem that I see going forward is if gamers are not supporting single player experiences, we're going to keep getting developers saying that they need to add more microtransactions in their games to actually fund the development for how much these games cost. Single player games, yes, they are linear games in some right. Once you beat them, you don't ever go back to them and play them again unless it's just one of those games that you just love so much, but most people don't do that, and we need to start really investing in playing those type of games. I think going forward, this is going to be the key to actually winning when it comes to the developer side of it, because if they see that people are still hungry for these games, people will still buy them, they'll still make them. But until that actually happens, we're going to keep seeing things like EA talking right now about why they closed Visceral, because people don't like single player linear experiences. So guys, what do you think? What's the last single player game that you actually played? What's the last one that you enjoyed just for the single player alone and not just the multiplayer component that was added onto it? Let's talk about that in the comment section. So in closing, I appreciate you watching this video. Make sure you sub to the channel if you haven't. Like this video if you like the content. It definitely helps out the channel a lot. Turn on those notifications. Gonna let you know the next time my video goes live. It's your boy Gaming Forte. You guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace.